Hello, welcome to Excel Highway. Today's video, I tried to create a Italian soda food truck business model. I just saw this something on Reddit, and I thought, hey, I'll try to do it, build something that could be useful for someone. So I want to share with you what I build, and hopefully it could help you in case you want to build a business and you want to understand what kind of funds you'll need from day one and what kind of revenue and profit you're going to see. So that's what I built for you. If you think this is interesting, so stick around. I'm going to walk through all the steps on how to build this. So first off, I'll start with this, the operation costs. So these are supposed to be all of your recurring costs. So in the case of a food truck, I have inventory and ingredients. No, let me just quickly sort this so it's on the same. Okay. So I got my fees like the health department, fire, liability, inventory and ingredients, marketing, etc., etc. Now, for each of them, I define the cadence, if it's a yearly or monthly. This is with the simple drop down, data validation, just manually type them and add a color. And I also have four categories based on what is the cost. So if it's based on sales volume, number of employees, fixed or sales volume in dollars, which you see these. Basically what this does, this helps me to finalize the cost. So this is also a drop down data validation, only here it's based on a range, this range. Yeah, that's how you built that. Then I have the price per unit, that's my input. And then I want to basically aggregate everything per month. So let's look at the formula of the cost per month. I'll just remove this just to simplify for a second. So what this does, it takes this number and multiplies by whatever I defined as the base of it. So I'm using age lookup for this value in this area, and range the two first rows and the second value. That's going to bring me, in this case, to 1, right? Because it's 1 times this, it's 425. And then I add this part that it just checks if the cadence is monthly, 1. If the cadence is yearly, 12 with an ifs, because I want to divide it. This is a yearly cost, and it costs me $425 per year, so it's 35 per month. And what's nice about this method is I can use, for example, per sales volume. So for each 5,000 units, which we'll see in a second, that's set up in the main. But for 5,000 units, I have a 5-cent cost. So per month, I'm selling 5,000 and I'm going to be charged 250. I can also use percentage. So in this case, my sales volume in dollars is 26,000. 4% of that is my website and social media ads. So that's the monthly cost. So that's just a neat way for you to build your monthly operation costs. That's the more, let's say, complicated one. The sales volume, number of employees, and sales volume in dollars is all coming from the main, which we'll see in a second. Then we have the startup cost, which is actually easier to build. So I just put the category, the details, the cadences for all of them is 1 time, but you could have different things if you want. I have a low number and a high number, and you define the percentage. So you could buy a food truck or trailer at 10,000 or 80,000, depends on you. And you just define the number here so you can play with it. Let's say 100% means the best truck that you can find, and 10,000 is the very cheap one. And you get the idea. You can use that as a model. Of course, you could have just a static number if you want, whatever works for you. And you can see you have here different categories like vehicle cost, equipment, legal fees, which are 1 time, marketing, which are 1 time, and sorts of miscellaneous. Okay, so there's the startup costs. If we go to the main sheet, this is where you define the monthly sales volume. So if I change that to 6,500, things will change. So the operation costs now are different and everything will change accordingly. I define the average sales price for my business. And I have a monthly revenue, which is multiply both of them. Monthly sales volume per employee. So this basically means how many units per month can one employee handle. So if one employee can handle 2,200, I need 2.3 employees. And I can use a not a round number, not an integer number, because maybe I hire people for half days or overtime or whatever. So I put 4,500. So an employee can handle 4,500. So I need 1.1. That was going to be what I'll use here for the number of employees. And since I have a payroll, I'm paying 22.50 for an employee, so 2,500 per month. That's going to be my cost. So those are the three parameters. Everything else here is going to pull from the two sheets. So first off, I'm going to use using unique, filter, and VStack, um, three functions. So the VStack for both of the tables will basically just return all of the different categories. I'm just doing it lazy, so theoretically I could build this manually, but I just want to do it quickly and without much work, so I'm just going to use VStack. And then I'm going to apply filter on that same VStack to exclude the blanks, because you see my VStack runs through the entire sheet. I just don't like blanks between them. And then I'm using unique because I don't want basically 3 lines for vehicle cost. I want 1 line. So I get the unique. So that's how this is set up. Now the startup costs, so those are my CapEx costs. Simple sum ifs, right? For this area and for this cost. The same for my OpEx or the operation costs. Simply here, but here I multiply by 12 because I created something manual for, sorry, monthly. So remember to multiply by 12. So that just gives you like a summary breakdown of your startup costs and your ongoing OpEx. Over here on the right, I build a simple cash flow for years 1 through 5. The percentage of CapEx in year 0 is 100% because you need to buy everything. And I put here 35% just so you remember that you will have some expenses down the road. Maybe you'd have to replace some of these. Maybe you'd have to invest in a new truck or ice maker, whatever. So you can just have this as a percentage. It could be 10% if you don't want to, 25, could be 0. You could split it. So maybe here there's 10%, 10%, sorry. So this is just something that you can play with. So the capex is going to be the sum over here times that number, which is very basic. OpEx is the sum over here, and then it's just equal to the year before that. The revenue is going to be the monthly revenue times 12, and the profit before tax is going to be the revenue minus the OpEx and the capex. Then I have a tax percent, which you can play with, and the tax is going to be the profit before tax times the tax, and net profit would be profit before tax minus tax. This is what you're going to earn in your business. That's pretty much it. That's what this simple model gives you. You can, of course, add a lot of things. You can just add more categories, and this will automatically update. So if I add a new category here, new one, and let's say we'll call this 1,000, 10%, I'm going to see that right here. So that is going to immediately impact everything in my file. And lastly, in the dashboard, I just created 3 charts because usually it's easier to see it visually. So you have a cost versus revenue per year, you have your OpEx breakdown, and you have your CapEx breakdown. Very easy to build. I build it behind the scenes. I just added here the revenue, CapEx, and OpEx using index match. So basically it's pulling the data from here and then just organizing it. For the OpEx and OpEx, the same thing. I just created a sort. Okay, I'm taking this value, I'm just going to sort descending so that I have, you know, the pie chart the way I like it, where it goes from the biggest pie slice to the smallest, adding the labels, changing the titles, very basic things, but this is a nice view that you can use for yourself to understand, or just use the main if you're more comfortable with tables. That's it. It's pretty simple, pretty basic, but it could help you uh, with building something before you launch your business. I hope you found some value in this file and in this demonstration. If you did, please hit that subscribe button and click, and I'll see you next time.